Hi everyone. Sorry. Hi everyone. My name is Audrey. I'm a freelancer. I've worked with Adam at Proton lately, I skate basketball to be here. So yeah, bear with me because I'm sitting with you guys, and I did not patch my polo shirt. Okay, so if you see something, it's just the style. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about styles, maps. My first question will be, who has launched his Maps app to come here at AMO HQ? So like everyone knows how to come here. That's good. Okay. Don't we all love SwiftUI Maps now? What I want to talk about is just basically how SwiftUI and MapKit evolved during the years. The first thing we have is like, we have a big redesign of SwiftUI in iOS 16. But the thing is that we can actually build a map using SwiftUI in iOS since iOS 14. So you can basically just quickly build a map on iOS 14. With iOS 17 came some the SwiftUI on MapKit with heavy redesign of the APIs, handling new result builders and so on. So iOS 17, and then on iOS 18, again, new stuff. So it's the same thing we have with SwiftUI and the multiple version of SwiftUI during the years. So we're gonna talk about essentials. So essentials, it's building a map. In UIKit, you had to simply, that's the basic one, just have a view controller, you initialize a map, or trying to get it in the storyboard by linking with an IB outlet, so on. Just getting the constraints, setting the delegates, so you had that MK map view delegates. You have to deal with it, like when user update a version, when user moves something, you just needed to implement something to put your logic in the map view delegate, which is was in the view, in the view controller. So you had to do it, and just setting the constraint. I'm using SnapKit here, so that it's not that big. Basically, you just had the card, a map, and everything was just empty map and so on. On UIKit, what you have, it's like just one line of code. And since iOS 17, you just get it with extra stuff. So we're gonna get to it later. But just with this line, you build a map in iOS 14 until iOS 17, you get that same thing. And this is on iOS 17 thanks to Result Builder, because with Result Builder, we can do a lot of things. You have those build blocks, and what happened on iOS 17 was Stitch Content Builder to create everything inside the map directly. So using that Result Builder, you can do whatever you want, and you provide the view you want to provide, like on SwiftUI, like on lists, right? So what you are doing in a list, you can actually right now on iOS 17, since iOS 17, you can do it in a map. So let's start with just the camera. So you want to initialize a view, you have a position. So right now, the new thing is the map camera position. I center into the Paris region because it's just the MK coordinate region. And I just put Paris, I just put the coordinate, and everything is there. So I have the initializer where I can put the position, and I have the marker just you can see where we are, like the AMO HQ. In UIKit, you have to set the camera on the map object. So you set the camera, you do kind of like the same thing. So if you have MK map camera and you have map camera position, it's kind of the same. Like, just it's animated. But here for animation, we have all SwiftUI provides. So we do not need to embed it in our initializer. The difference right now is just about the fact that instead of positioning the region in the path region, what you can also do is just like trying to get the user location and fall back to the automatic every time, so that you can have the user location being displayed, and what comes with the user location being displayed, it's another modifier in SwiftUI just to maybe make it hidden and maybe customize it. So we'll come to this later. So the second thing, it's more about the interaction mode. When you set a camera in UIKit, you have to, every time you have to write a line about property. So property will be about scrolling enable, user interaction enable, when even sometimes you don't want to do something on the map because you have a lot of view colliding, so you have to user interaction enable equals false, and you have to zoom enable, zoom disable, scroll enable, pitch enable, and everything. So you have to write down. So like a lot of lines of code. And right now you just need to, in addition to the position, you can just put the interaction mode. So panning, zooming, scaling, whatever you want. By default, it's going to be interaction modes to all. So again, inside the initializer. And the last one it's more about the bounds. So the bounds will just trying to get the maximum, the minimum, and the center coordinate into the area you cannot move around. So just the camera bounds, I didn't set it. But basically, you can just have one more variable to initialize into your view. So on UIKit, same thing. You have to set the region, you have to set the bounds, and so on. Set the span and everything like this. So everything is a function. Everything you has a set property you have to write, which is not the case anymore because it's declarative and it's the basic of SwiftUI. Instead, in UIKit, you have all these configuration you have to set. So we talked about UI button configuration. It was the same here. You have the MK map configuration, which is kind of like same thing on the class, and you have other classes, the other classes inherited. Yeah, you have that that MK map configuration where you can actually set the style of the map you want to display. And on SwiftUI, it's basically the same. You have the standard one, you have the imagery one. This is the standard displayed, and you have the hybrid. So the imagery one will be the satellite, and the flyover would handle those, and the hybrid will handle kind of all of everything. So the imagery, and we also display the roads and the labels. So what's come next is the style, setting the style using the elevation, the emphasis, and the point of interest categories. So right now you can have including point of interest like public transport, like cars, like buildings and so on. But sometimes you can even exclude points of interest. So instead of including, you can exclude everything. And the show traffic, which is set to true or false. So map size, same thing, is the new modifier on SwiftUI since iOS 17. So the transition was to get into a place where you can actually build a map since iOS 14, but also on iOS 17, the big stuff is coming. And the big stuff is enriched with iOS 18 and so on. Controls on the map. So it's not controls finger on the map, is just the controls on the map. Controls on the map, what they are? Basically, what you see on the right, the top, the bottom, on the right, bottom right, you see there. So same thing, on the map, you just get the map, and you have like your namespace, and what you decide to do is like what I want to show to the user. I think right now the pitch toggle is not shown. You have the compass, but basically you can just you can just position your controls like you want, like in a V-stack. So you have to overlay the map, put the V-stack, and so on, and that's it. But what you can also do is just like having the default one, and the default one would just be another modifier where you can actually just put everything you want into the modifier without customizing it. And in that case, it will be on the default location, which is on the top right. Annotations and overlays. Annotation, we have seen one where actually I'm placing a marker on the specific location. So same thing, what you do is like placing the marker, putting a title, and giving the coordinates. If you want to remove the title, you can just have another modifier, which is annotation titles.eden, and you will just have the icon. And customizing the marker is just another view, because you have the annotation, which is taking content view. So you can actually put an image and do all your styles on the image. Same thing. Overlays is more about putting stuff on the map programmatically. So the first thing is what we had already on SwiftUI. So what I'm showing right now is that what we already have on MapKit, MapKit and AppKit and UIKit on UIKit. So both of those already had it. It's just like it was kind of like boilerplate to write, and sometimes you get lost to what you're doing. So right now, you can have a map polyline, which is like MK polyline. You just have to replace map with MK, and everything is kind of sold out. So you define a walk route. So the first coordinate is the start. The last one is the ending, and you try to just write like draw a line between those. Like my drawing was kind of like not good, because the first thing, I think it's a .ai conference in Paris, and the last one was Emo HQ, where you can actually go, but it was not written like the drawing was not good, because I had to, I think I passed in through buildings and so on. So yeah, not that much. So same thing, it is the view. You have the map content builder, which is there. You have a map polyline, which are there. So you can draw your style. So strokes, you can even have dashed line and so on. So with map polyline, you can also have circle and polygon. Right now, with the three, you can have the map. The UIKit version had more of them. They can have multi-polyline and multi-polygon. Who has already used multi-polyline and multi-polygon on MapKit? Frank. And guys from Amo, yeah, of course. Yeah, so it is not something we use so much, but yeah, they are really interesting because they make the rendering really, really interesting, really nice. So look around, it's something we had since iOS 16, I guess. I don't remember, but it was more about the fact that when you select a map, because you can also select, you have the selected position on map, so you have all those variables already in the map view, and when you type on it, if you have like a look around view for the scene, so you have to specify a scene, and you have an image you can show, it will just show that. So same thing we can do with UIKit. It is also can also be done by SwiftUI since iOS 17. So about the search, the local search basically is not changing. It is the same thing. So you have the search results, you have that same MK map item, which is kind of independent from the map itself. So that's why it can stay. And what you have to do is just like trying to build your request, and on the bottom of the screen, you just have to iterate for every search result. You can just add a marker. So what you're doing here is inside the map. So you can, same thing, you can build your task, you can call your task and whatever, and your function who will actually do a search for that. So every time you get it, you draw a marker, you can have multiple ones, and you just get all those markers displayed in the map. So on the interaction by themselves, the interaction on the map, we have what is changing. So right now, you can just call the onChange on the position, but the fact that if you start dragging the map, you will not get the context, you will not get a lot of data. You can have just manipulate it to do more stuff or heavy stuff. So the onChange is good because we will get the position, and you will just get, status on maybe if it's positioned by the user, if it's center coordinate, and so on. But what you can do, and what they are introduced also, it's map camera change, where you get the frequency, which is continuous and end, and continuous is the starting position of the dragging interaction. And if you put end, it's just like after the dragging, you will get all the context being updated. So this is kind of like the basic to build the map, and put everything on it, and just play with it, which is kind of easy, which is good. And because it's a SwiftUI view, you can have a lot of things like Apple has done with SwiftUI and with views on SwiftUI. So you can have the map reader, like you had the geometry reader. You gain all sorts of animations. So everything you can do with the keyframe animator, or you can have a map camera keyframe animator. So just to play with animation on the camera position of your map can be done. So what you can do on SwiftUI with animation, you can just put it back here and it will just work. You will just have everything related to the keyframes, and you just play with it. So Swift concurrency is going to come. It's a big question. So all the structs are prefixed with pre-concurrency. So they are kind of prepared to support strict Swift concurrency. So this is something we can start building because a lot of Apple APIs are done with that, and we can actually have no problem using them. So we have basically all the functions, main actor pre-concurrency, or in all the structs since iOS 17 prefixed with main actor pre-concurrency. What about other maps frameworks? So what I know about the three I wanted to put was more about Google Maps, Mapbox, and OpenStreetMap. It is the same answer. So the answer is like, is Maps better than Mapbox, Map on AppKit on you, or UIKit? Is it better than all those three right now? It depends sometimes on the place we are. In San Francisco, I think I use more Maps. In London, I use more Maps, and when I'm in Cameroon, I use more Google Maps. That's normal for me, because they don't get all the maps, all the ties, all the cards over there. So it depends on where you are. But basically, there are differences. And right now, we have missing features because Apple is not getting out everything every time with 100% complete. So we have missing features. We're talking about markers and putting markers every time. So the big question every time is about the clustering. Who is still doing clustering on these applications? Yeah, not so many people. Because they are a way to try to avoid clustering. So when you change the map, you can recalculate, and you can trying to, you define the zone where you want to have the results displayed. So you recalculate them and you just get into a place where you don't have to do clustering, because we have a code somewhere on the internet where it is done, it is clear, and it is working. We had back in the days on Objective-C and Swift also, we had those clustering framework, those clustering libraries, they were working. Right now, we do not need that much because we have the region changes and we have to recalculate, and it's our iPhone are getting better and better and getting more powerful. So the clustering is not a thing this day. What can be done and what has been done on UIKit, Swift AppKit, and SwiftUI is just trying to recalculate on camera change, on camera position change. You just recalculate the search result you see, if you've seen lately, and you just redraw, and everything is smoother. So no latency at all. The ties. So this is a big thing because when you want to do heavy stuff on the map, you need your own ties. You sometimes use Mapbox, OpenStreetMap. Sometimes you build your own system around it. So it is missing. It is missing. It was missing in iOS 17. It is still missing in iOS 18. So it's not going to happen this year, at least. Geodesic polylines. Who knows about geodesic polylines? Yes, of course. Same people. So geodesic polyline, if you go into like more of a, right now we are on the how can I call it, on just the phone, right? So, but if we go into the 2-dimension thing, we can still see it on the phone. But geodesic polylines is just to have like define a lot of polylines, like the end at the beginning and the end tend to to be how can I call it, to get into, curving, and geodesic, the geodesic effect actually, it's making a curve with the starting point and the end point, so that you can see that it is something related to 2D, maybe 3D, because you have like the brain is thinking about it. So so geodesic polyline are not supported at all on new SwiftUI with MapKit. And same thing with multi-polyline and multi-polygon. It was the same thing on MapKit. UIKit was MK multi-polyline and MK multi-polygon. Not gonna happen this year. Your own overlays. Sometimes you want to make some rendering, intensive rendering. You cannot do that right now. Same thing. So does it worth it? I think I've answered the questions. All those, intensive usage of MapKit. Sometimes we are not doing it. Like we just display a map, we just put something. We have like sometimes we do a snapshot of MapKit. Sometimes because we don't want things to interfere. But right now, I will say that, does it worth it? If you are on iOS 14, maybe you can try it to see if you need more stuff into it. If you're starting with iOS 17, I will recommend it. I will. It's like Swift Data. If you're using Swift Data, you can use MapKit. That's the only thing I can do. If you think you can use Swift Data in your application, just use MapKit with SwiftUI. But MapKit is doing a lot more than what SwiftUI was doing on iOS 17. So I will recommend it because you can display whatever you want. You can have the annotation you want. You can customize your annotations. You can deal with the dragging, with the gesture, with the selected pinpoint, with the position. You can do animation, like nice animation with the camera position. You can actually make the map moving whatever you want to move it. So you can do it because you have SwiftUI behind it, and you have the power of just all those. If you're using SwiftUI, of course. If you're using UIKit in your project, do not use SwiftUI with MapKit. For me, it is obvious. But if you do, we are trying to do it because it's basically it's really fast. It's really clear to read because it's SwiftUI, and it has almost everything. The missing feature I was just talking about. A lot of people does not use it. If you're using an app, or if you're building an app specifically on maps, like in this building, yeah, do not do it, right? Because you know your stuff more. So yeah, thank you thank you for being here. I have just reference, but the reference are the same. Sorry about that, but it's mostly about everything that has been done, said, or discussed on Apple platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. The remaining mic. Do we have some questions? Yes.
About the MapKit, you say that some features are missing. But if we want to use clustering with the UIKit version, shall we use? Can we integrate it with the SwiftUI map view? For example, with the map view delegate.
Yes and no. You can do cross, MapKit and UIKit, but I think it's a waste of time. Like, you're trying to do something which is specific. You're trying to get a MapKit view into the UI view representables. You're talking about that?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe a MapKit, right? A UIKit MapKit view into a UI view representable. I do not suggest that. Either you choose to do the UIKit AppKit/AppKit way, either you're doing just the SwiftUI way. Do not trying to do both of them. If you think you will use ties, you will use heat map or whatever. You can use Mapbox, you can use Google Maps, you can use whatever you want, but they will be in UIKit, and it will do the work. So, yeah.
Okay.
Another question. People are hungry, maybe. Oh, yes.
It's similar to the question that I was asked, but you said don't wrap MapKit yourself in SwiftUI, use the one that was provided by the system. But you mentioned a few configurations that were not supported in SwiftUI for some reason. Like, first, do you know why they would port most of the configurations to SwiftUI and not all of them? And can you actually build the SwiftUI wrapper yourself and then use that?
When you're talking about configuration, which configuration are you talking about?
I'm talking about like MK multi-line, multi-polyline or stuff like that. Like, what prevents you from building your own SwiftUI wrappers around that?
I will not call them configuration. The configuration we put is just to trying to initialize. But in terms of just overlays, you cannot build your own overlays. So even if you're trying to do a UIKit overlay wrap into a SwiftUI view, it will not work. It will not even compile. So yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. They didn't provide a way to build those wrappers yourself. Okay.
Thank you. One last question, maybe. No? Okay. Thank you, Audrey.